Berkley. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Councilmember Black, Mayor Pro Tem Gavin,
Here.
Councilmember Hennon,
Here.
Councilmember Patterson, Councilmember Villani, Mayor Dean.
Here. Our first order of business is the approval, excuse me, of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin with support from Councilmember Baker. Are there any changes or corrections? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the agenda has been approved. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we've come to the first public comment section of tonight's meeting. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence. You have 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind and in your heart. Seeing no one here for public comment. Ms. Mitchell, please read the items on tonight's consent agenda.
1, approval of the minutes. Matter of approving the minutes of the 40th regular city council meeting on Monday, April 21st, 2025, and the special city council meeting on Monday, April 21st, 2025. 2, motion number M2625, matter of awarding the contract to the lowest qualified bidder, BT's Construction, Inc., 3234 Auburn Road, Shelby Township, 48317, to complete wall repairs at Community Center Senior Annex for $11,175 and to allocate $2,500 in construction contingencies. This project is being funded by a fiscal year 2024 special grant from the state of Michigan. 3, motion number M2725, matter of awarding a contract for community park sidewalk and path improvements to Hartwell Cement Company of Oak Park, Michigan. 4, motion number M2825, matter of approving the local road improvement program provided by Oakland County. 5, proclamation number P1725, matter of proclaiming May 11th through 17th, 2025 as National Police Week. 6, proclamation number P1825, matter of proclaiming May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennon
Support.
with support from Councilmember Baker. Are there any corrections or additions? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Hennon,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the consent agenda has passed. I've asked Councilmember Hennon to read P1825.
A proclamation of the Council of the City of Berkley, Michigan, proclaiming May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Weeks. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainability and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Berkley. And whereas the infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supplies, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Berkley to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canada Public Works Association. Now therefore, the Council of the City of Berkley hereby proclaims that the week of May 18, 24 through 24th, 2025, a National Public Works Week in the city of Berkeley, and the City Council urges all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. Proclaim this 5th day of May 2025 at a regular meeting of the Berkeley City Council. Bridget Dean, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Hennon. A proclamation of the Council of the City of Berkeley, Michigan, proclaiming May 11th through 17th, 2025 as National Police Week. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Berkeley Public Safety Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of the City of Berkeley play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the City of Berkeley. And whereas the dedication, professionalism, and commitment of law enforcement officers often go above and beyond the call of duty, involving personal sacrifice and courage. And whereas the work of law enforcement officers extends beyond traditional policing roles to include community outreach, education, and building relationships with citizens to foster trust and collaboration. And whereas the men and women of the City of Berkeley Public Safety Department unceasingly provide this vital public service. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And now, therefore, the City of Berkeley hereby proclaims, Section 1, that the week of May 11th through 17th, 2025 is hereby recognized as National Police Week in the City of Berkeley, and publicly we salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Proclaim this 5th day of May 2025 at a regular meeting of the Berkeley City Council. Bridget Dean, Mayor. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 2 on tonight's agenda.
Motion number M2925, matter of approving the Corporate Cup Relays event on Saturday, June 14th, 2025, from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at Anderson Middle School for the Midwest Corporate Athletic Association. Approval is conditional upon the submission of required items and documents prior to event dates.
Is there a motion to approve M2925?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin
Support.
with support from Councilmember Hennon. Ms. Van Vleck.
Good evening. So this event has been taking place, I believe, since 2016, and it's been reviewed by all the applicable departments. We don't see any issues, so we're recommending approval. I do think that there is a representative from Midwest Corporate Athletic Association, Joe Baldwin, here, if he wants to speak a little bit to the event itself.
Yep, so thank you very much. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. So yes, 2016, we moved our event from Southfield to Berkeley, to the Anderson Middle School. So this is an organization that promotes cooperation and athletic activity amongst people in different corporations. Our primary corporations, General Motors, Ford, Stellantis, Chrysler / Stellantis now. So we bring these teams together. They organize their own teams. We bring them together for road races in the morning, track and field events in the late morning and afternoon. And then the teams do a little bit of fundraising on their own. We don't actually fundraise. They raise funds themselves for Special Olympics and Dearborn Animal Shelter to do some additional benefit with our event. But we've really appreciated being in the city of Berkeley. We've got rave reviews about the neighborhoods that we do our 5K and 10K event in. So we really do appreciate the opportunity. And I know this year we have the art fair on June 14th of the same day. So the chief and I have discussed that. That's why we eliminated our 10K event for safety. We've just got the smaller 5K event that's further south, away from traffic. And I was communicating with him again just today that we have a plan in place for that, and he'll have some patrols to come around and keep an eye on it. So.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Hennan.
Just a comment that, this is, I've never heard any problems with this event in the past, and it seemed to go on well. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I would echo the same thing. I know that you've been doing this for years in the city of Berkeley, and we're happy that this is a partnership that works all the way around, and we appreciate your efforts and your professionalism when you come in and hold this event.
Thank you. And, we did miss last year, but that's because last minute we found out the track was getting completely renovated. So the benefit this year is we've got a brand new track
Yes,
to enjoy
yes.
for the event. So.
Definitely.
And I've got you covered right there. I saw you over there.
I'd just like to add that I have met with Matt, and we discussed the event plans, and since we have the art bash the same day, we're writing a smaller addendum plan to cover this event. And
Of course
I met
you
with
are.
Joe, and we should have everything covered. It'll be a lot of the stuff will be the same. It'll be the same people covering both events back and forth, but we'll make sure that everything is covered well.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you will.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M 2925.
Baker,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 3 on tonight's regular agenda.
Resolution number R525, matter of approving a resolution of the Council of the City of Berkeley, Michigan, authorizing the decertification vacation of local roadways.
Is there a motion to approve R 0525?
So move.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan
Support.
with support from Councilmember Baker. Ms. Van Vleck.
Good evening. I'm going to throw this one over to our DPW Superintendent, Adam Wozniak.
Great.
How you doing? So every year, the state of Michigan, or MemDOT, gives a map that we have to certify the roadways. This year, they pointed out certain areas where it's not technically roadways. I have a larger map here in the packet that you guys saw the pictures where they depicted the areas that were not technically, throughways. So that's where we're at with the things. And it's only 700 feet that we are just certifying from the city, from the roadways.
Okay,
Anything else?
questions from council? Mayor
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. Just a couple quick questions. First thing, do we have to act on this within a certain time frame once MDOT kind of identifies these areas of concern?
Yes, we, it's on a yearly basis, and as soon as we, certify that we are gonna decertify these, I have to get these, we have to do a signed map to the state, and then I have to, with the resolution, send that off as well.
Okay, and I'm assuming that if for whatever reason we didn't decertify, it could potentially jeopardize some Act 51 funding?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I don't know that answer, but
Yeah.
I would assume so,
Probably
yes.
as safe as, yeah, okay. And then the last question is really just more for residents' benefit in these areas. So the areas of concern, obviously, we'll still see regular maintenance and services as needed without interruption, correct?
Absolutely, yeah, there should be no stoppage in that.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Hennan.
Yeah, I'll just point out my observation, that my question that was answered earlier was, these are things that are already closed. We're not giving up something new.
Correct, yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor, and thank you again for bringing this tonight. Yep, along the same lines as my colleagues here, just wanting to ensure that folks understand that we're not giving up big chunks of, half of a major street or something like
No,
that.
no,
These
no.
are the equivalent of, just like you said, 700 feet total.
Total.
Across all of the different locations.
Correct.
Yep, and it's just a bookkeeping thing on the.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said,
Yep.
in one of the areas, it was Harvard and Henley, where it looked like the road extended into the Lazenby Field and everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's houses there. There's no road there, so stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes, Mr. Christie.
Through the chair, there's no utility easements or utility in this particular area that would need to be reserved by easement, is there, or if you know?
Are you saying like we do have some water main through the area and sewers through the area? We don't technically lose the property. Is that what you mean? We're not losing the.
I want to make sure we're not
Yeah,
vacating.
no, we're not
if it's a
vacating that.
class- okay, the resolution references vacate, but really it's just decertification for the Act 51 list.
Correct. Correct. Anything else?
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
Well, thank you again. What's the timing? When will this take effect? Is it, and you described your process of
Yeah.
how you communicate back with them. Do you expect this to be done in a matter of days or weeks, or does it take months to process all this kind of stuff?
As soon as I get a signed resolution, I email it off to the representative I've been talking to through the state.
Just to clarify, Adam, nothing further physically happens to these
Right.
sections. It's just
No.
the funding associated with
yes,
it.
yes, correct. Yeah.
Thank you, and that was a good thing to point out. Councilmember Hennan.
Okay, a question for Attorney Christ. Would it make sense for the motion to strike the references to vacate to be clear and safe?
Well, I guess through the chair, is this document from
Yes.
MDOT?
Yes.
You know, I would prefer if it didn't have a reference to vacation in it, but I recognize that MDOT may not look kindly on tinkering with their document. I suppose that a conditional approval, to delete that reference, if approved by MDOT, might be something that the council could consider. Otherwise, I guess you've affirmed that it's not, there's no vacation. The intent of council is not to vacate that public right-of-way or alley. It's only for purposes of the Act 51 road mileage map, to decertify this particular property.
Correct, and I see the distinction that you're making. I'm satisfied with the wording. I know the vacate does denote or conjure up images of something else, but they decertify / vacate, so it's sort of in there that we are decertifying this. I don't know, thoughts from other council members?
Just a note that what was in our packet, there's a form that we fill out, and that form doesn't have the word vacate on it.
It does not?
It does not, right, yeah. There may be more material than just the form, but the form itself just says, the street used to be this, and then now we're gonna add this bit or remove this bit, and then you tally it all up, so.
Good point, yeah.
Just to add a little more, there are sections that are considered road right now that are private property. So
Oh.
they've already been vacated, they just haven't made it off the Act 51 list yet. So like we was talking about at Harvard and Henley where it extends, there used to be a road through
Yes.
there. That property was vacated years ago. There's houses built there, but it's still on the road for Act 51 funding.
Got
on the
it.
map for Act 51 funding. I don't know how a lot of these made it this far. They've been on there for decades. But it's come up and we need to address it.
Yes.
Another good example, something we're not gonna vacate, is right in front of the community center. So you have Sunny Knoll comes in, Rowena goes north-south,
Yeah.
but it's a dead-end street in Sunny Knoll. That little section from the dead end to Rowena is no longer a public road. So we have to decertify that. We're not vacating, we're not giving
Right.
it up, it's just no longer eligible for funding.
Okay, thank you for making that distinction. Are you good? Oh, Councilmember Hennan?
Yeah, not good.
Okay.
So, if we tabled this and it came back at our next meeting and we had clarity on this, would that be sufficient time for the deadline to have?
Yes, I've already spoke with my NDOT person. It seems that they're okay with, as long as we're staying in contact, we can
Okay.
definitely table this if you need to.
Yeah, so that would be my motion to table this until our next meeting to get
Okay.
clarity on the vacation language.
Are you good with that? Okay. So we've just amended that motion to suspend till the next meeting to get some more clarity on the language. Any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, Ms. Mitchell, please call a roll on amended R0525.
Baker,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the resolution has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 4 on tonight's agenda.
Ordinance number 0625, matter of approving the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Berkley, Michigan to add Article 3 Workforce Housing Pilot to Chapter 114 Taxation of the City of Berkley Code of Ordinances to provide for approval of an exemption from ad valorem property taxes for housing being developed or rehabilitated for workforce housing for persons and families whose household income is not greater than 120% of area median income as authorized by provisions of the State Housing Development Authority Act of 1966, Public Act 346 of 1966, MCL 125.1401 et seq.
Is there a motion to approve O0625?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan
Support.
with support from Mayor Pro Tem Gavin. Ms. Van Vleck?
So I think as all of you know, we've had several special work sessions of council to discuss the idea of a workforce housing pilot in the city. And so now we're bringing a first reading of an ordinance based on the discussions that were had in those special meetings. And so I will pass it on to Community Development Director Kaplansky to speak more about it.
Good
Thank you.
evening.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to start with just a little bit of background if anyone's watching at home and is wondering what a pilot is and where it comes from. So since we've wrapped up the zoning ordinance, we're kind of moving into the next phase of concentrating a little bit more on economic development efforts in the community development department. And this is part of that, and also a way to stay on par with some of our surrounding communities and make sure we're not missing out on opportunities that may present themselves. So back in 1966, the State Housing Development Authority Act was passed, and this was a way to provide opportunities for low-income housing with federal funding. This was accomplished through a pilot system, which is a payment in lieu of taxes. It's something that's negotiated. In 2022, the state, as part of their housing plan and housing efforts, recognized that there's a gap between low-income housing and market rate housing. And so with the intention to increase the supply and affordability of housing, the state legislature expanded the opportunities for what you could use pilot for. So it could still be used for low-income housing, but it now is available and able to be used for workforce housing. And that's defined as an area median income of 80 to 120% of whatever the HUD department determines is the median income for our metro area. So that's a lot of dates and numbers and things, but the key is we are focusing on the workforce housing portion, this 80 to 120% of area median income. We are not focusing on the low income housing portion as part of this discussion. So when a community decides to use this incentive, a developer or property owner pays a set percentage of their rental income between 1 and 10%. It's negotiated, and that is paid in place of the standard property tax for 15 years, and there are some optional extensions as well. This is kind of the background of how the state arrived at this option. As I mentioned, we're focusing a little bit more on economic development, but there were also some things in the master plan that really talked about diversifying housing choices to accommodate different populations, but also incomes. So this is a way that we can create or incentivize multifamily housing in our community at an affordable rental rate that is attainable for people who make between 80 to 120% of that area median income, instead of just going with market rate housing. The ordinance that's before you this evening allows us to, should it be approved, move forward with those negotiations with any interested developers. It does not require us to do that. It does not mean that we ever have to use it, but it is then available to us as an option. As I'd mentioned, that yearly payment is between 1 and 10% of the rental income, but something else that can also be included in pilot negotiations are other public benefits related to the project. And those would be very project specific, so definitely not worth including in the ordinance because they would be on a project by project basis. If this is approved for a first reading this evening, it would come back to you for a second reading, and then it would just be out there and available for us to use. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, Councilmember Hannon?
Yeah, no question, just some comments that, because I think this one's ripe for misinterpretation and misinformation, so I just want to, emphasize some stuff. Pilot is it's not a pilot project. That is an acronym, payment in lieu of taxes. So this is just a trial, temporary thing. And, again, it's not low income. It's to put it in more layman terms, it's so the average person in Berkeley can afford it. And then, you know, not touched on, but part of this is that there is a negotiation before, you know, if we're giving stuff up, we are getting stuff in return, and it is things like the affordable housing and other things listed in the ordinance that will benefit the community as a whole. So we're not, if this comes before us, if anybody picks it up and wants it, it's not a done conclusion, and you know, there is negotiation that goes on to make sure that we're, you know, getting a good deal for the city of Berkeley.
Councilmember Baker.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for bringing this before us, and thank you for all the in-depth work sessions that we've had. We've been talking about this many times over, and I think it's I'm glad that it's here before us this evening. And as was said, this is a tool. This is a tool this will be a tool in the toolbox should it pass both readings. And if and when it does come about, we'd have those conversations, as was mentioned. And each one of those negotiations would look different based on the nature of the project and the parameters, its location, and the additional benefits or amenities that the developer could bring to the table in order to try to seek this out. And again, it's not a foregone conclusion that the developer will get the approval. It just opens the door for us to have that conversation with them to bring about the benefits that we think this will bring to the community, to the neighborhoods, and to the city at large. So very excited to consider this today as part of, again, a toolbox of things that just help broaden the opportunities for folks that are looking for a great place to live. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to reiterate the fact that it's workforce housing. In all the time that I spent knocking doors, I heard over and over from residents, I just want my kids to be able to live here. I want my children to be able to afford a home here or to afford to live in Berkeley. And so it is a different designation, being that it's 80 to 120% of the AMI, that is different, excuse me, and it is classified as workforce housing. Governor Whitmer has made a giant kind of effort with this across the state. It is not only a Berkeley issue or a Michigan issue, it is definitely a nationwide issue. The cost of things continues to rise. So we've dug into this as it's been stated through work sessions. It is interesting to me, I'm interested in it. I think if it's a way to have a win-win for some residents in the city and for the city, I think it's certainly worth taking a look at adopting the ordinance. I am in support of this ordinance, and I think that it signals too, it's just, as Councilmember Baker said, it's another tool in the toolbox. And as we look ahead and focus on the economic development portion of our framework, it's, I think, a nice thing to add along with the other tools that we're already utilizing. So thank you so much for your work on this, and City Manager Van Vleck. I know the two of you have spent a lot of time digging into this, and Attorney Christ for his expertise as well on this. I believe that we've landed on a solid ordinance, and if this ever gets utilized, and I think we've internally discussed and at the work sessions that it's a project by project basis, and that will be done by resolution. So each project, if we get any projects, will be considered separately, and it isn't a one size fits all. So thank you. Mm-hmm. Any public comment? Okay, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on O0625.
Gavin?
Yes.
Hennon?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes. The ordinance has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 5 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M3025, matter of authorizing the amendment of the 2024-25 budget as presented.
Is there a motion to approve M3025?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Baker.
Support.
With support from Councilmember Hennon. Ms. Van Vleck.
All right, I'm going to introduce, I'm actually glad to, for the first time, introduce our Deputy Finance Director, Amy Zarowski, and she's going to provide this item and then the next item as well. But first, we'll start with the third quarter budget amendment.
Thank you. Good
Welcome,
evening.
Deputy Director Zarowski. It's so nice to see your smiling face with us this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of you guys. So I did want to give a high-level overview of our Q3 budget amendment. That being said, the Q3 budget amendment reflects minimal changes overall, with the adjustments having a favorable impact on the originally adopted budget. There's a few items I did just want to highlight with a few of the different funds, so that based on the information that we supplied. So overall, in the general fund, we were able to achieve some additional savings, and that was specifically due to the public safety. We were able to reduce some of the expenditures from the K-9 expenses, because we purchased a vehicle just from the public safety vehicle expenditures. And then we were able to achieve additional savings in the dispatch area. And then also overall in the general fund, we achieved additional revenues, and that was from the rental income. So overall, that kind of equated to $315,000, which we then placed into our public capital improvement fund, which you can also see, in the details within that fund. The next item was a newly created fund that we also during our budget process this year was the opioid settlement fund. So you'll see money coming out from the general fund and then placed into the opioid settlement fund, and that was for prior year as well as current year funds that we received. And then finally, for major local and infrastructure funds, these funds remain on track. Revenue and expenditure adjustments were made to reflect actuals year to date. But then also construction activity has been strategically adjusted to reset the reserves in alignment with major projects that we have coming up that have also been presented in our 25-26 budget documents. So a lot of the major projects that we're doing, we were just adjusting those to, move those funds so that we have them for all our upcoming projects that we have spelled out in that budget document. Are there any questions or anything else that I can provide?
Thank you. Thank you and the department for doing all this careful work and tying everything out. And I appreciate this as budget positive for us here at the end. So I think that's great as well. So again, thank you. No real questions, just that general appreciation. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
And looking forward to.
We all do.
To the next time. Yeah. Thanks again.
Any public comment? Okay. Thank you. I know this has been a heavy lift, but I'm so encouraged by and grateful for our finance department at full staff now, and we're seeing these regularly, and it's a great feeling.
And it'll only get better from here.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're absolutely correct, and it's very encouraging, and it's a really good feeling. So thank you very much. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M3025.
Hennan,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 6 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M3125, matter of accepting the quarter ended March 31st, 2025 budget to actual report.
Is there a motion to approve M3125?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan
Support.
with support from Mayor Pro Tem Gavin. Ms. Van Black?
I'm going to ask Mrs. Zarowski to also explain the budget to actual for the third quarter.
Okay, take it away.
Pleasantly, there's not a whole lot to report, and I think that's due to all of our diligence from all of the budget meetings and everything that we've done over the past couple months to get us where we are today. There's no significant concerns, issues to bring forward, and obviously with adopting the Q3 budget amendments, which was, in order to have everything aligned to our budget document. We're in a strong financial position as we approach year end. There are a few, follow-up things as we're, still, have just gotten to full capacity that we there's a couple of things that we need to allocate, but I mean, we have everything under control, and you know, as we near year end, you know, everything will be in line, and so I think that's really about all we have to report here.
It's a great feeling when that happens.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Hennon.
I'll just note there's some concern in the community that, by a few, that the actual revenue doesn't match what we budgeted, but just like your salary, we don't get paid all at once, and that money is coming, and is, you know, there is nothing of concern here.
Correct, and I think I know what you're speaking to, and that was, in the comparison was Q3, what that was to our year-end numbers, and so that's not going to match. And so if they were to look at actuals to, you know, our year-end budget, those numbers would be close to where it should be. But again, it's not going to meet the year-end numbers until we're at year-end.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Okay, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M3125.
Baker,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hendon,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed, and thank you so much, Ms. Morosky. Communication,
Mayor Pro Tem Gavin.
great.
Thank you very much. For Parks and Rec, Dogman Reading Challenge brought to you by Parks and Rec and the Public Library. Pick up your reading log at Parks and Rec or the library. Read all 13 Dogman books. Have a parent sign the form. Turn it into Parks and Rec or the library for a prize ticket. And then bring that ticket to the showing of Dogman on Friday, June 13th at Bacon Park to claim your prize. So movie starts at 6 p.m. And the next meeting of Parks and Rec will be May 8th at 7 p.m. at the Community Center. So that's this week. And then for the library board, just a reminder that the Friends of Berkley Library Book Sale will be on Friday, May 16th, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And Saturday, May 17th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The spring sale will take place at the public library, and proceeds from the sale help support the library's programs and services throughout the year. So next meeting of the library board will be May 21st at 7 p.m. at the library. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Baker.
Cool. On behalf of the Berkley Historical Committee, I'd like to say Happy Berkley History Month. That's fantastic. Berkley became a city in May of 1932, which is great. Their next meeting is on Tuesday, May 13th at 7 o'clock. Please visit the museum to see the display on Berkley's First Methodist Church here on 12 Mile. Over 100 items are being presented. And for more information, visit berkleyhistory.com. From the Downtown Development Authority perspective, they meet the very next morning, Wednesday, May 14th, at the easily remembered time of 8:15 in the morning. Congratulations to all participants and organizers of the Leia's Day Out last Saturday in honoring May the 4th be with you, which was awesome. Memorial Day events are coming up on Monday, May 26th. Farmers markets start up on Thursdays in June, and for more information on that and to check out the DDA's brand new website, go to downtownberkeley.com. And finally, it was Jimmy Kimmel who once said, "Cinco de Mayo, proof that Americans will celebrate anything with tacos and beer." As it turns out, today is not actually Mexico's Independence Day. That's September 16th. Cinco de Mayo is specific to the military victory over a more powerful French army. That battle represented a broader struggle against foreign domination, making a historical touchstone for resistance to oppression. Cinco de Mayo is actually more widely celebrated here in the U.S. than in most parts of Mexico, evolving into a celebration of Latino culture and contributions to American society. So without quoting a specific commercial, I'll just say, stay safe, my friend. Yeah. And please hug somebody you love. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hennon.
Yes, the tree board met last week, and hot off of this year's Arbor Day, they're already starting to make plans for next year to try and make it a bigger draw. They're also looking at getting a booth at the farmers market to help with outreach. And the city learned that we were awarded a grant for 30 trees from DTE.
Oh, nice.
And for the Zoning Board of Appeals, they've had no recent cases, and I don't know yet if we're meeting in May. So that's all.
Thank you. Ms. Van Vleck?
I just want to thank everyone for a collaborative, thoughtful approach to this year's budget. From everybody, from all of our council members to all of staff. There was a lot of work that went in. There were a lot of meetings. We started early on internally with staff, and obviously we've had quite a bit of transition in the last year, so there was a lot of catching up to do, and everyone kind of just jumped right in eagerly. It was a very collaborative approach. People are very thoughtful about their budgets and passionate about what they're doing for the community. The meetings on Monday and Tuesday with City Council were also very collaborative and productive. And I think we're just very lucky to have a passionate, innovative team dedicated to serving the community. So I just want to thank everybody for their hard work and dedication, and especially Ms. Zarowski, who is just up here, our finance director, Carl Johnson. They've been doing quite a bit of work on the back end. And then also our communications director, they did a lot of work on the budget document this year, so we talked a bit about that at the meetings on Monday and Tuesday, but a lot of work went into how we are delivering the budget this year in a way that people can digest and understand, and so we'll continue to work on that as the years go on, but I'm just really proud about what they produced this year, so thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Christ?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. No legal report tonight.
Thank you. So we mentioned it earlier this evening in our work session. Slo's Barbecue is coming to Berkley, and it's been on social platforms. So I just want to welcome them. And I believe that Slo's is a perfect fit for our downtown, and I look forward to enjoying a meal as soon as they open. Not that I'm holding my breath, but it's pretty exciting. I want to congratulate PSO William Donnelly. He just graduated from the Oakland Fire Academy last Monday, and he's already completed the Oakland Police Academy, so now all that's left is his medical first responder training. So congratulations, Will, and we're happy that you've gotten through this next step in your process. Just to add to the comments that the city manager made regarding the budget work sessions. So we had them last Monday and Tuesday. I want to thank the city manager, department directors and staff, and specifically the finance department, because what we got this year looked so much different. It felt different. And I know that I'm just going to speak for all of council and say that it was a pleasure to read that document, and certainly having the supporting documents there. But I know that this was not an easy task, and you guys did it, and you did it really well. I also am pleased that we had a facilities assessment this year, because it was completed in time for budgeting, and so it just gave us that additional information about the condition of our buildings and then where to direct our resources. So it was another tool in this budgeting process, and looking at where our needs are in that aspect of our community. And I guess my favorite thing about budget work sessions is the we can see the work from all the departments, but also you highlight your priorities, the things that are important to you. And that's exciting to me, because it all dovetails into our strategic framework. Unfunded mandates aside, the creative part of the budget to me is looking at direction and where you want to take things, and it's an exciting thing to see. And people are more, when I say people, I mean directors and staff, city staff. I just feel like a renewed energy into this process, and it really did come through in the budget document. So I appreciate your thoughtfulness and your diligence and your professionalism, and it showed. So thank you. My next stop on the Mayor's Roadshow will be this Friday, May 9th, 9th, at June and December. I'll be there from 4 to 6 p.m. and June and December is located at 2670 Coolidge. If you haven't visited that beautiful store, Friday's a great time to go. We can also have a chat, or go whenever it works for you, but it really is just a gem in our downtown, and shouldn't be missed. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennon.
Support.
With support from Councilmember Baker. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Hennon,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Deep.
Yes. The Monday, not February. That's what I get for reusing an old template. The Monday, May 5th, 2025 meeting of the Berkeley City Council is adjourned.